Amanda Ratigan presenting my final project. Watching me is Mary Draveski and Gerald Ratigan. Good evening. Tonight I will present my research on the effects of iReady use on reading achievement in the first grade classroom. Before I begin, let me explain to you what iReady actually is. It is a computer program selected by Miami-Dade County Public Schools to serve as the source of reading intervention in the classroom. Let's begin. Technology is everywhere, and it's everywhere within the classroom as well. At the front of every classroom, you're going to find a whiteboard. You're also going to find computer centers, and our special needs students may come with assistive technology that helps them succeed in the classroom. You also will encounter something called educational computer programs, also known as CAI. CAI is any form of educational program that the computer uses to teach or supplement or mediate our instruction. With that being said, CAI has taken over a bit of the role of the teacher. It is allowing us to supplement our education with the students without actually having to be the ones to do it. The computer tailors the instruction for us. When choosing a program for reading and language arts, the options are many. Lexia, Abracadabra, Reading Plus, and Read Naturally, and also iReady, which is what Miami-Dade County selected. There are many interested parties with regard to CAI, teachers being one of them. How do teachers feel about this? Well, a lot of them said to me they like it because it's easy to implement. It's easy to implement. I put my students in front of the computer, and the computer does the rest. I don't have to sit there and be over the student's shoulder, making sure they're learning. Additionally, teachers like that it's supposed to supplement the standard instruction. I can't be there to give all of the students one-on-one instruction, but the computer can do that. Additionally, I was told by a colleague at my school that this is what allows her to actually do her small group instruction. She puts her students on the computer, she then pulls some and works with them in a small group. Everybody remains engaged, everybody is learning. Also with a stake in the game are the promoters and the developers of the program. They obviously espouse the excellent results that come with use of their product. However, research has shown that although there may be positive effects, they're not always significant. CAI unfortunately opens itself up to misuse. Not misuse as cheating, but misuse in actually misusing the product. For instance, teachers, students, administrators, and parents place an unrealistic expectation on the product. They're saying that I'm going to be on the computer-assisted instruction a couple hours and voila, I'm going to be up to grade level. It doesn't always happen that way. Additionally, teachers may not engage in careful planning, meaning that they're not making sure that what the student is doing on the computer-assisted instruction is actually what's going on in class and it will help them in class. The two may not correlate. Additionally, the CAI itself may be incongruous with what the student needs. The student may need phonics instruction and help with that, but the program is actually teaching phonemic awareness. So the student actually isn't getting the help they need to succeed. Lastly, the teachers themselves may not serve an active role in the learning, meaning that the teachers may place the students on the computer, the student participates and engages with the program. However, when the student is done, the teacher makes no mention of what was learned on the program. It's almost as though the student is learning in a vacuum. CAI has not gone unnoticed by researchers. It has not escaped their scrutiny. CAI usage has been analyzed for demonstrable reading improvement in a variety of settings using a variety of instruments with diverse populations, the results of which have shown a mixed bag. They indicate that a well-structured CIA program may have its place in the first grade classroom. However, the results may fluctuate. For instance, Maracuso studied Lexia. Lexia is designed to enhance and promote word attack strategies and word recognition automaticity. Maracuso and his colleagues studied in an urban school like the one I studied with my research, and he found that the experimental group and the control group both made significant gains. Where his research was interesting to me was that he found that the Title I student subgroup within his population studied made substantial gains and actually showed growth and caught up with the non-Title I students. Therefore, he was showing that a phonics program may be beneficial to low-performing at-risk elementary students. Additionally, Chambers and his colleagues studied Team Alfie. Interestingly, Chambers was actually seeking an alternative for the expensive one-on-one tutoring that our students benefit most from. The students with the Team Alfie computer program met and engaged with the program 3 times per week for 45 minutes. This is very structured, as opposed to the students who engaged in the one-on-one tutoring, who met for about 20 minutes whenever it was available after school. What they found was that the students with the CAI, the Team Alfie, actually scored better than the students with the one-on-one tutoring. And with that being said, they could also reach more students than simple one-on-one tutoring could. Rosinski and his colleagues studied Reading Plus in Miami-Dade County, which is where I conducted my research. Reading Plus is a structured silent reading program. Students engage with the program 2 to 3 times per week for 30 to 45 minutes. Rosinski found, interestingly enough, that the results were cumulative in nature, meaning that the more time the student was on Reading Plus, the better they did on the FCAT, which was the measuring instrument. However, Rosinski did not look at actually in-class performance, as my research did. Gibson and his colleagues studied Read Naturally, which is a multi-component repetitive reading approach. It was a small study with mixed results. The results that he discovered were that the successes the students experienced on the training passages didn't necessarily translate to the generalization passages later on. However, in the end, 5 of 8 of his students reached benchmark criteria and all made comprehension gains. Lastly, Campuzano and his colleagues actually studied the software products themselves and the results that they said they made. What he found was that 9 out of 10 of those software products, of those computer-assisted instruction, the results, the gains, were considered statistically insignificant. So why did I decide to analyze computer-assisted instruction in the form of iReady? Well, like I said, educational technology is everywhere in the educational field and in the classroom. It's inescapable. Additionally, the reports of the effectiveness of computer-assisted instruction are conflicting. Some say great results, some are mixed, so I decided that I would look into it and determine what the improvement would be using an actual in-class measure of success. Additionally, it hasn't actually been measured in an urban, iReady has not actually been measured in an urban first grade classroom. However, as teachers, we're supposed to use it as our form of reading intervention. What if it doesn't translate? What if it doesn't work for our students? That wasn't studied or tested before it was implemented. Thus, I hypothesized with my research there would be a positive correlation between time spent on iReady and in-class reading achievement. However, I didn't think that the results would be as unambiguous or as strong as both the developers and Miami-Dade County school system projected. How did I conduct my research? My participants were 30 first grade students at an urban Title I elementary school where I taught. 16 were girls and 14 were boys. There were 11 African Americans, 10 Haitian students, and 9 Hispanic students, which represented a cross-section of the school at which I taught. The instruments I used to measure my success, to measure my results, were the benchmarks assessments, which correlated with the curriculum, and the iReady usage reports as generated by the iReady program itself. My research lasted from August 2014 to June 2015. Initially, the first grade teachers, which I was working with, gave me the results for my participants on their pre-assessment benchmark test, which served as their pre-iReady reading achievement level. Then I met with the teachers on an individual basis, and we worked together to establish an iReady usage schedule. I wanted to make sure that each teacher would be using iReady with fidelity. However, I couldn't control for how much they used it, but I wanted to make sure everyone would be using it. Throughout the year, I received the benchmark scores as the students completed them, and additionally, teachers then ran the appropriate iReady usage data reports. In the end, I gathered all my data and I analyzed it. What did I find? Well, I placed my data on a scatter plot, which I felt would be the best graph to show my linear relationship between the two variables. After I looked at my general data, I decided to further analyze a subgroup of the students, those students who had spent more than 600 minutes or 10 hours on the program. I was wondering if there would be a stronger correlation with increased usage of the iReady program. What did I find out? Well, my results shown that there was a positive correlation between iReady usage and in-class reading achievement, as I had suspected. However, the results turned out to be insignificant. The pre-assessment average of my participants in my study was about 50% on the initial benchmark assessment. The average time they spent on the iReady score was about 511 minutes, and in the end, their scores increased to an average on the final benchmark assessment of about 52.75%. The average percent increase was only 11.44%. Thus, the resulting Pearson correlation coefficient was 0.334, and the coefficient of determination was 11.15. As you can see here, this is my scatter plot, which shows the line of best fit, demonstrating a positive linear correlation between the two. As I mentioned earlier, I did decide to analyze a subgroup of the population, those students who spent more than 600 minutes on the program, and I found that there was a stronger correlation between usage of the program and in-class reading achievement. However, the results remained insignificant. Those students began with a pre-assessment average of 48.21%. They spent an average of 777 minutes on the program, and their final assessment average was 72.5%, meaning on average, they increased a little above 24%, which is excellent. However, the Pearson correlation coefficient remained 0.394%, a slight increase of the overall average, and the coefficient of determination only increased to 15.32%. As you can see, this is the graph demonstrating that data and demonstrating the positive linear correlation with my subgroup students. What does all this mean? What do all those numbers actually mean? Well, it means that very little of my collected data is actually closest to the line of best fit. There exists a very weak linear association between time spent on the iReady program and in-class reading success. Thus, you can't determine that a student is going to achieve in class based on their iReady scores, iReady usage. What does my research mean? How does it apply in the real world? Well, the iReady program does not appear to have a significantly positive impact on the students' in-class performance as measured by my curriculum benchmark assessments. This replicates, however, the results found in earlier research of a positive correlation. However, it fails to replicate the great positive effect the CAI had on my Title I students found by Maracuso. Additionally, the increased use does result in a greater correlation, leading to a possibility of the Rosinski effect, meaning the cumulative in nature effect. However, my students didn't spend enough time on iReady to actually see if that would happen. What limitations should be considered for future research? Well, I encountered the inability to control for actual adherence to the iReady schedule. Some teachers told me that they didn't want to do it, others there was an assembly or there were absences. So the iReady schedule we agreed to in the beginning wasn't always adhered to as the year progressed. To counterbalance that, I would suggest there be an actual computer lab time set aside for iReady that is adhered to with fidelity. Teachers have to be there however many times per week for a certain time. Additionally, the student utilization of the program wasn't always as it is intended to be used. On numerous occasions, I would walk past and a student would simply be clicking through the program, just trying to get through to the end. Also, the program was available for use at home, meaning the student could log on and a brother or sister or auntie or uncle could actually do the iReady program. So they're logging minutes but not actually getting the benefit. To control for that, there needs to be stringent monitoring during the computer usage time. A teacher, a teacher's assistant, they need to constantly be walking around watching the students. Also, have it only be accessible at the school site. Lastly, there needs to be a larger population studied. What does all this mean for my research? Well, it means that minimal use of the iReady program does not produce significant results. However, there does allow for the possibility that increased use may at one point in time produce significant results. We do know that it needs to be more than 10 hours. Additionally, the iReady program should not be utilized as the sole method of reading intervention, as the usage hours required for that are so great that the student may not reach it. And lastly, the iReady program may be best used as a supplemental source. The teacher should still be the sole intervener in the classroom. Any questions?
Yes, I have a question. It seems to have been much harder to use authentic in-class assessments to test your hypothesis. Why not use a standardized screening test like the other researchers?
I wanted to actually measure in-class success. what my students need to know to progress to the next grade. And the CAI used in the classroom needs to positively affect that, not some standalone test that is administered by a researcher.
I have a question. The coefficients of determination are low for both sets of data, 11% and 15%. What exactly does that mean?
Well, that means that only 11% of the general data and 15% of my subgroup, the results can actually be explained by the relationship between the two variables. So what that means is that 90 and 85% about, effectively, the results are explained by something else. So there's something else affecting their in-class reading success. It's not being affected by iReady. Thank you.